Hi everyone! In this video I want to talk about equations and graphs of circles in standard form. Here are the problems that we'll do. Also, to make sure that we don't take ourselves too seriously, let's think about our fun question. What board game could you play for hours on end? Okay, so circles would fall under geometry, but this standard form of a circle technically would be coordinate geometry because it involves the center and the radius as it would be graphed on the coordinate plane. So you might be asked to identify the center and the radius. You would not be asked to graph on an ACT, but perhaps you would have a graph and you'd be asked questions like, what is the center, what is the radius, what is the equation? So I picked two problems that involve a mix of all of those topics. Okay, the first thing we need to talk about is the formula. So the ACT requires you to know quite a few formulas going in. Standard form of a circle here, circles in standard form, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. How do I remember that? Well, it follows the same pattern as the distance formula, which is another one you have to know. I always just think minus plus minus for some reason. Minus plus minus, minus plus minus, that just goes through my head whenever I see, the circle equation or distance formula. What are all of these variables? So the HK is a point, and that is the center. And then the R is the radius of the circle. And then the X and the Y just stay there as the variables. You need variables in there to be able to graph something. So we have the first problem is x squared plus y squared equals 9. Okay, there is no HK. So that means that there isn't one. Must be just the center must be 0. X minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals, and then a lot of people think the radius here would be 9, but see, that's in the form r squared, so this would be equals 3 squared. So the radius must be 3. Center, 0, 0. Because number 0, 0 is the HK, and the r is the 3. Okay, so if you get the point 0, 0 as your center, you go out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 from there. And then you're going to use a circular motion to try to connect all of the points. Mine's a little off there, but you wouldn't be actually graphing on the test. You would just be using a graph to answer questions. And the next one, you could be asked to identify the equation given a center and a radius, like going backwards from what we just did. So an equation from this information, as we know, it's x minus h. Hey, our h is negative and our k is negative here. So what do we do? Well, isn't that just x minus negative 12 squared plus y minus negative 4 squared equals 5 squared. Radius is 5, plug it in there. And then our final answer here is just x plus 12 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 25. Okay, so what are our final answers for all of these? Well, it says identify the center and radius. That's here. Sketch the graph. That's there. And then write the equation there. So 3 different types of answers for problems like this. Moving into the practice problems, here are a few that match what we just did. The only thing to note is this 15 is not a perfect square. So you're going to think about what you're going to do for that. And then I think this one's a little easier than the one we just did because everything's positive. So why don't you pause the video before I reveal the answers. Okay, the answers are here. So think about what two integers would the square root of 15 fall between. That's kind of an extra credit question here now, because that's actually a question I see all the time on the ACT. Let me say it again. What two integers would the root of 15 fall between? Wouldn't it be 3 and 4, right? Because the 3 squared is 9 and 4 squared is 16. So I know that this circle, the radius is somewhere between this 3 and this 4. Like I said before, you wouldn't have to graph that, freehand or anything, but you could be asked questions like that. And then this answer is pretty obvious. It's just x minus 7 and then y minus 10 equals 81 because it's 9 squared. Okay, how about a quote for some inspiration? I always talk about this growth mindset concept in class, and it's really, really important for students to realize that no matter what your circumstances, you can always put your mind toward whatever you want to achieve. And I love Einstein's quote, "I can is 100 times more important than IQ." This is a great quote for ACT prep because it kind of reminds us that it's kind of all about how you know how to play the game than it is anything about real intelligence. This stuff might come easier to others, harder to others. But if you really practice and try to get better, just like a game or sport, then you might find that growth over time really brings you toward success. So I hope this video benefited you either with a math course or prepping for a test. Now that you've had some time to ponder that fun question, I'd love to see your answers in the comments. Also, if you'd like to keep up with new videos, I'd really appreciate if you click subscribe. Have a great day.